Hey y'all, so this will be a faceless video. I found this conversation to be pretty interesting. I've never heard of this man by the name of Deante Kyle, but apparently he hosts a podcast by the name of Grits and Eggs, and he stumbled across this topic of accountability and programming as it pertains to protecting women. And we're just going to get into what he had to say in the responses from the good black men. All right, let's get into it. I think you guys will find this video very entertaining.
They know how to take rejection. The majority of men that most women deal with do not.
Yeah.
And you are accountable for that as well. Because I don't got time to figure out which white people are nice, which white people aren't racist, or da-da-da-da-da. I have to go on the actions of the group.
Right.
The group as a whole, and the history of that group as a whole, tells me that they are a danger to me and they are not to be trusted.
Right.
And if you can understand that as a black man and your stance towards white people, then you should absolutely be able to understand women's stance towards you.
Mm-hmm.
It's not a war on you waged by women. Actually, the war get a little thicker when we start talking about it from the perspective of a woman and the greater society of racism and white supremacy being waged against black people, and then the patriarchal society being waged against women. So they have to deal with two elements. One of those elements we don't have to think about, and honestly, we're perpetuated.
Mm-hmm.
And it's perpetuated against us young to look at women as objects,
right?
You know, to look at women only through the lens of a sexual desire and not as the human being that they are. And when you understand how to deal with women on a human level, you understand how much women will enrich your life.
Amen. Amen.
You want to turn it up a notch?
Yeah.
Get you a good woman, get you a good black woman in your corner.
Amen.
Hey man, you want to see your life turn up?
Hey.
And see, this is the thing though. It's a privilege, bro. It's a privilege. You know what I'm saying? We often disregard the power of our black women. The spiritual essence that they're gonna bring to things, the knowing, the seeing, you know what I'm saying? Also, too, imagine it. They have to be hyper vigilant because they have to be constantly scanning the room, making sure that they're in a safe situation.
Absolutely.
You know what I'm saying? When we think about these kids who were clearly in Louisiana having the time of their fucking life because they graduated, and we think about white people's reaction to Black joy.
Oh yeah, that's
it's not about civility. It's not about decorum. They don't like to see us happy.
That's what it is.
Now, how often are women just having a good time, and here come a nigga trying to ruin their fun?
Yeah.
Let's just be honest. You can call it pandering, but if I was up here caping for white women, you wouldn't even mention that word. If I was up here caping for Hispanic women, you wouldn't even call it pandering. Only when we take pride and show love to black women do you call it pandering. Get your motherfucking mind right. Use your cabeza.
Calling Deante Kyle a panderer is intellectually dishonest. And missing the forest for the trees is something real easy to do when you do not want to see the forest. Think about it like this, man. Boys always talk about no snitching. Well, you're willing to be held accountable legally for the actions of another man. But this man right here said from the ethic and moral space of his heart and said, hey, men, we're accountable for the other actions of men. And y'all jumping through the roof right now? Man. Calling Deante Kyle a panderer is intellectually dishonest. Then a message that was curated for men, that was made in the vernacular in a situation for us men to understand and it's still being seen as pandering. In which part of the message do we feel like he was trying to get women's attention? He was specifically talking to us. Y'all remember when Muhammad Ali said this?
10,000 rattlesnakes coming to bite me. And in those 10,000, there was 1,000 that didn't mean no harm. And I knew there was a good 1,000 snakes out there, but they all look alike. Now, what should I do? Should I keep the door open and let the 10,000 in, hoping that the 1,000 will unite and save me and one bite will kill me? Or should I just be safe and shut the door? So we have white people say, I mean right. I have a black husband. Oh, my children are black. I love everybody. I really believe you. But I'm sorry, man. There's 10 more thousand behind you that don't feel that way. I'm just sorry, but what am I going to do?
Arguing that you're a good snake and you're not like the rest of them, while at the same time you fall in line with the pattern of domination and power anytime we start talking about violence to women, whether we're talking about Meg Thee Stallion, whether we're talking about Cassie, whether we're talking about any of the nameless victims that R. Kelly was talking about, or whether we're talking about the endless victims that Bill Cosby was doing. There's always a way to fall in line with the patterns that's propped up by power and domination. All of us can say, I mean right. I got a mama, I got a sister, I got a daughter, I got a grandma. That means much when it comes to how we are preferenced, privileged, and popped up by all these systems of domination that leads to the violence to women. You see what I'm saying? Whether we like it or not. When our homeboy even talking about the cat calling or doing whatever they're doing and we don't do nothing, yeah, we did that. Just like if a white person is standing next to a body that's lynching, they are just as guilty as the person that put the body up there. That's just being in proximity. You see what I'm saying?
Family's life now that there's some whites that mean right and sorry that they were from this race. But there's so few until it don't really matter, until I can't forget all the lynching, all the depriving, all the murder, everything that's happened, because they're two that mean right.
Right. Okay, so maybe you don't subscribe to the politics of snitching, but let's go to this Muhammad Ali metaphor he just laid down. He was making the analysis about power and domination and how patterns are mobilized by said power and domination when it comes to belief and practices. We understand that, right?
You may not harass women. You may know how to take rejection. The majority of men that most women deal with do not.
Yeah.
And you are accountable for that as well. Because I don't got time to figure out which white people are nice, which white people aren't racist, or da-da-da-da-da. I have to go on the actions of the group.
Right.
The group as a whole and the history of that group as a whole tells me that they are a danger to me and they are not to be trusted.
Right.
And if you can understand that as a black man and your stance towards white people, then you should absolutely be able to understand women's stance towards you.
The last thing, man, when it comes to the idea of gender wars, and we recognize that our casualties ain't coming from women, but it's an institution that's made by men, that's propped up by men, that's leading to all of us having depression, leading to us having the highs, you feel me, rates of unaliving ourselves, then we start recognizing who has manufactured this idea of a gender war and who really stands to gain.
Why is it that anytime a black man come on the internet and says, hey, we need to protect and look out for and defend black women, and also in that same sense hold ourselves to account as black men for the role in which black women are describing that they don't feel safe or they don't feel comfortable, y'all immediately saying that he pandering? What? Deante came on here, shout out to the bro, by the way. Deante came on here and talked about how, hey, there's an objective truth about how black women are saying that they don't feel safe, they don't feel comfortable, you know what I mean? They don't feel like they're protected, and we need to hold ourselves to account in that conversation as black men. You know what I mean? And y'all talk about he pandering. Because let's just look at the historical truth. Damn near all of the damage that has been done to women has been at the hands of men. That is an objective truth historically. So if we look at that through the lens of black women, who historically spend most of their time in black spaces, in black families, around black people, at black schools, we are not exempt from that accountability as black men. And it comes off as though y'all not listening to the stories of y'all sisters, of y'all cousins, of y'all aunties, or any other women in y'all family. And I feel concerned for the daughters that y'all might be raising. Because if black women are coming on here and telling y'all how they don't feel safe, they don't feel comfortable, you know what I mean? And y'all, the only conclusion that y'all are drawing when a black man repeats that same thing is that he's pandering, it means that either you are maladapted to critical thinking or you just don't give a damn. Either way, you need to tighten the fuck up. And before y'all try and come in my comments talking about, oh, you pandering, pander this, pander that, only pander I know is Panda Express. Fuck out of here. Why?
So Deante from Grits and X podcast said this, and it has a certain subgroup of men up in arms.
You may not harass women. You may know how to take rejection. The majority of men that most women deal with do not.
Yeah.
And you are accountable for that as well. Because I don't got time to figure out which white people are nice, which white people aren't racist, or da-da-da-da-da. I have to go on the actions of the group.
Right.
The group as a whole and the history of that group as a whole tells me that they are a danger to me and they are not to be trusted.
Let me just start by saying I love his content and his platform. He makes points every single time. Now, the reason that some men are up in arms and upset about this take is because they feel like they shouldn't be held accountable if they've never made a woman feel uncomfortable. But here's what I'm going to say. As a man, regardless of your sexuality, orientation, any of that, as a man, at some point, you more than likely have made a woman feel uncomfortable, whether that is subconsciously or consciously. And what's important about what he's saying is that we as men need to take a look at how we approach and interact with women, because women have historically been unsafe around men. That is not a question, that's a fact. And the other important piece about accountability is that men need to hold other men accountable for their behavior, for their actions. So while you think that you may not be someone who has ever caused a woman to feel uncomfortable or unsafe, y'all also be around men who do it all the time, and y'all laughing with y'all partners and hanging out with them knowing that they're doing things that make women uncomfortable. But if we as men don't hold other men accountable and try to change behaviors, then we're just as bad as the problem. Period. And the men who are speaking out against him are trying to position themselves to be the good guy, the good man. And we all know that that's simply them hiding in plain sight. And let's not forget that the same men who are arguing against his point sit online and make women uncomfortable for fun, literally argue with women, and that is all their content. So yes, we as men are accountable for men's actions across the board. If you want to make it better, let's hold each other accountable.
Look, when Deante Kyle was talking about men need to be held accountable,
we knew what he was talking about. All men knew what he was talking about, but it's a lot of y'all that's being disingenuous and y'all acting like y'all got a problem with what he's saying. But y'all really don't have a problem with what he's saying. Really, it's a lot of jealousy going on. A lot of y'all are jealous. And then another thing is a lot of y'all don't like women. So anytime somebody says something in defense of women, y'all want to throw out this pandering bullshit. And then third and most importantly, when Deante Kyle was saying that about the accountability, he was speaking specifically for the defense of black women. It's some of y'all that responded to that video that don't like black women. One person in particular, John Cannon. That man don't like black women, bro. He's married to a white woman. So why are you even stitching Deante Kyle's content? Because it doesn't appear, you're not part of the demographic. You know, we don't expect you to speak on the behalf of black women. We don't expect you to defend black women because you're married to a white woman. And that's cool. You want to be married to a white woman? Stay over there. Stitch white people shit and stitch white women shit and speak on that. But every time I see this man stitch a video, it's always in the black sphere. You feel what I'm saying? He always stitching black content and want to give his 2 cents. And a lot of times he don't know what the fuck he talking about. Just like he's saying, like, if y'all don't want nothing to happen to y'all, y'all don't need to go to no dangerous places like clubs and bars because he never went to a club and bar. If you've never been to a club, if you've never been to a bar, if you've never been to a party, you can't speak on how safe they are or how safe they aren't. You're going off of what you see on TV. You don't know what the fuck you're talking about. I done been to plenty bars, plenty parties. Now, I'm going to be fair. There have been times, there's some dangerous shit that done went down, right? But I done been to a lot of bars where ain't nothing jumped off. Well, everybody had a good time. Everybody went home and everything was cool. You feel what I'm saying? But you can't tell women if they don't want something to happen to them that they shouldn't go to a dangerous place because women get attacked everywhere, bro. I don't know if you notice or not. Women can get attacked in their homes. They can get attacked in their neighborhoods. They can get attacked at the grocery store, at church, at school. There is no so-called mythical safe place that you're talking about, and you playing stupid. You dig what I'm saying? Because you're victim blaming, and then you're victim blaming, but then turning around and accusing Deante Kyle of pandering when he was saying some real shit. Because he also did another podcast where he was talking about that, where he was saying women should hold women accountable for the shit that they do, and men should hold men accountable. So that was him practicing what he preached. But again, all this stuff, all the content that Deante Kyle speaks on is for the upliftment of black people. I'm talking to John Cannon. You just come through and cherry pick black content to criticize and joke on and talk shit about. And in particular, it's a lot of black women that you stitch and talk shit on. You know what I'm saying? Stitch white women, bro. That's who you married to. You should be stitching white women and checking them. You shouldn't be checking black women because you have no interest in them. You're not trying to build within black women in the community. You chose to step outside the community for your wife, and that's cool. But you don't get to cross back over the line and then try to tell black women and black men how they should move. You stepped out of the realm, bro. Real shit. You stepped out of the realm, and when you look at your content, you give me RG3 vibes. I'm gonna be real. I don't think nobody else is saying it, but I'm getting RG3 vibes from you, and that's just me being real. But moving forward, stay where you at and stitch those videos and that content over there and criticize them. Show that criticism to white women. You don't have to show it to black women because you're not interested in them. Why are you trying to talk about them? It's almost like, you know how some people, like, you got guys that'll get with white women and then they want to talk down on black women. You doing that, but you're doing it in a sneaky way. You see what I'm saying? You're not saying that's what you're doing. You're not saying, well, I'm with a white woman because black women ain't shit. No, it's I'm married to a white woman, but let me stitch and criticize black women. So you're basically doing the same thing. So you really had no business speaking on Deante Kyle, who's speaking on the upliftment of black women and the protection of black women. That's my take. I could be wrong, and you could disagree with me, but I don't give a fuck. Peace. And P.S. is protect black women. I've said it on my other page. I'm going to say on this one. Protect black women. Call me a panderer. I don't give a fuck. I'd rather pander to women than pander to men. The fuck I'm going to do with a man? Some of y'all love men too much, too. We going to speak on that later.
This nigga want bitches to feel safe. Stop all that pandering. She not gonna let you hit. Cut them weak ass locks off too, nigga. If you don't feel safe, why the hell you outside? Stay your ass in the house if you ain't trying to hold you here. Feminist. You light skinned. Why we listening to you? Why they scared of me for? I ain't beat no bitch.
So I can't have your number?
Well, fuck you then, ugly ass. Who gon' stop me from harassing asking these men, why do I have to take accountability for what other men do? All these bitches is the same. She throwing ass, she obviously want me to get up on. This nigga like women being comfortable. This nigga won't be.
I'm not as mature as Deante, bro. Listen, y'all can't take rejection. Y'all can't. Y'all project y'all's insecurities on the women. Y'all hate y'all's mothers. Your mothers probably hate y'all too. So every time I meet a woman, y'all project that onto her. Every time a girl doesn't give out her number, she turns it to, oh, you're ugly, I don't want you anyway. Y'all literally do that. Like, that's a known thing. Y'all don't like black women, so every time somebody defends a black woman, it's called pandering, and then y'all say, oh, well, you're not going to hit, bro. Some of us have relationships with women outside of sexual things because we actually get women. Y'all wake up, listen to red pill content and podcasts telling y'all that y'all need money and this and that to get a girl, and some of y'all really do need that because y'all ugly. Sucks for y'all. But Deante is not a pander. He's just calling out what y'all actually do with what everybody has actually seen. Y'all present this masculine image, this typical, stereotypical masculine image, but it's not masculine to get on the internet and cry. It's not masculine to get on here and avoid accountability. Y'all weird.
So the children left behind are upset at Deante Kyle, and I think it's interesting. How is it that a man talking about white supremacy and racism, y'all was cheering him on, but when he brought up misogyny and sexism, y'all got mad? Because if you did, bare minimum research and understood your history, you would know that misogyny and sexism are aspects of white supremacy. Or did y'all not know that? Like, do y'all want to take away all forms of white supremacy, or do you only want to take away racism? Because for a lot of you children left behind black men, y'all making it seem as if all you care about is racism and nothing else. And if that's the case, you want privilege, not liberation.
Deante Kyle is not a panderer. Men just can't take accountability or criticism at all. They just can't. He broke it down very well in the video, relating the things that women go through dealing with men to the things, as black men, we go through dealing with white people. He broke that down very, very well. And yet you guys are coming out to call him a panderer because you don't have any understanding. Men cannot take criticism. The biggest problem on this earth is men. In any field, any area, it's a man. That's why the argument, it's all men till it's no men, doesn't affect me, because I understand the history of how us men as a gender, right, or a sex, have treated women. Like, you can look up the history of how women have dealt with men. It hasn't been in their favor, fam. So I don't understand how y'all getting mad at what he said. I listened to the video 3 times. He didn't say anything wrong. But again, as men, bro, we just can't take any type of criticism as a group. Everything's pandering. Anything that calls out men is pandering. First of all, that's not how you use the word, but since y'all want to use that word, anything that calls out men is pandering. Oh my goodness, but let a man get to dogging out women and calling them all kind of names on the panel or on the goddamn video. Boy, I tell you, y'all will be like, that's truth. Miss me with this nonsense.
Deante Kyle said that men need to hold other men accountable for being abusive and misogynistic. If that statement offends you, it's because you're abusive and misogynistic. If you think that a man is pandering or a simp for saying that men need to respect women and treat them like humans, it's because you're abusive and misogynistic. All men have a responsibility to being anti-misogynistic and dismantling the patriarchy. It's not hard. Just stop being weird and call out bad behavior when you see it amongst your friends, family, colleagues, other peers. Men also need to be proactive in their interactions with women to make them comfortable and create a safe space, because most men are weird. Removing nuance from the conversation and making complaints such as, oh, generalizations are bad, or he should have worded things better, is purely a manipulation tactic to deflect from the premise of the message. Deante Kyle said that men need to hold other men accountable for being abusive and misogynist.
Y'all definitely let me know you guys' thoughts in the comment section below. Men, women, I want everyone to chime in. I definitely feel refreshed. It's almost like, I don't know, I'm drinking a good cold glass of water on a very hot summer day, right? And this is extremely refreshing because the men that they are talking about that are coming at Deante Kyle and men who support his message and understand exactly where he's coming from, The abusive and misogynistic men are extremely draining. I avoid their content. I've heard of the John Cannon guy, but I don't know how he looks. I haven't heard a video from him. If I begin a video and I hear like a man speaking disrespectful or aggressively or yelling, I just scroll past the video, because in real life, I don't tolerate that. So I'm not going to tolerate watching the content. But definitely this, like I said, again, was refreshing. And I'm so glad that it feels like an ounce of an awakening is happening amongst Black men, particularly because that's, the type of men that I date, Black. And I'm glad that there is an awakening, and I'm glad that there are men. This is proof that there are men who are on the right side of history. So again, let me know you guys' thoughts about this, and I will catch you guys in my next video. Bye.